Welcome to this video for the final round of the candidates tournament. This is about the game Topalov playing white against Andreikin playing black. Yeah, for Topalov it's been a rotten tournament. He's on -2 after he lost against Kramnik in the penultimate round, while Andreikin is on 50% after he had beaten Aronian in the same round just yesterday. For him, certainly this 50% is a success. I mean, I don't think he was seriously expecting to qualify. I don't know. I mean, hard to tell what players do expect, but 50% is certainly a result that he should be okay with, I believe. So let's see what happens in this game. We have a double king pawn opening and slightly surprising, the Berlin. Andreikin has played this, but it's not one of his main openings. Yeah, Topalov plays d3. He's sometimes playing the end game with white, but this time going for the d3 line. Bishop c5. And here he played castles, which is a bit uncommon, simply because people usually choose between c3 and the capture. The capture going for this kind of structure, sometimes with bishop e3, for example, or c3. c3 has a very concrete idea. It prevents the move knight to d4. It's not just a general kind of schematic move. It's really having a direct idea, because it is believed that after, let's say, castles, what Topalov played, knight d4 should equalize rather comfortably. This happened, and yeah, why it is believed that it should equalize comfortably? It's due to this commonly known fact that in the open games, quite often the knight on c6, which is of course a necessary move on move 2. Okay, you can play the Petrov, but I mean, it's protecting e5, obviously. And very often in a later stage, you find that the knight on c6 is not such a great piece if white puts a pawn on c3, as all those squares that the knight looks at are protected. So this exchange very often means that black has gained something. This is also happening in some other lines in the Spanish. If we, for example, look at this line, the very old-fashioned bishop c5 line, which is not entirely bad actually. Castles and knight d4 here again. Okay, there are some tactical ideas here for white, but generally speaking, this should be an okay position. Okay, we get to this. But Topalov has a very concrete idea. He's not playing this with the idea to, well, not set any problems. He's going with the move knight to a3, which is not new, but a very much forgotten line. It's got some idea, of course, knight here. It basically provokes c6, but that's a move that black wants to play anyhow. Bishop back. And now castles. Yeah, what is the knight doing on a3? As mentioned, there is this idea, but the knight can also be used in this way, regrouping it to e3. And what it also does is, it's not blocking the c1 bishop. If you look at this in a comparison, if white would now play here, the bishop is simply blocked. And this allowed white to play bishop g5 in this position. So you quickly get the bishop out. And this is a slightly annoying pin. Black cannot black cannot break the pin with this bishop. It's on b6. He would I guess in some way would prefer to have the bishop on e7 so that you're not pestered by this, but Andreikin finds a good way to counter it. He plays h6 first, bishop back, and now d5. This is of course also a positive effect of this knight trade, the knight from c6. After the knight from c6 is gone and you have c6 played, you can even go for c65 sometimes, and this worked out well. Now the knight on a3 is looking a bit silly, but it will get back into play. Topalov takes and plays bishop b3. This is, I think, a good idea to take. It's looking a bit, yeah, I don't know, a bit strange maybe at first sight, but it gives white something to attack the black center. Black now must decide what to do about the kingside situation. This pin is just quite an annoying feature of the position. He plays even g5 here, and this is probably a good move. A move like bishop e6 is also playable, covering d5, but after, let's say, just a simple move rook e1, what are you doing about your pawn? You probably have to play this g5 anyway. You can cover like that, but white can even attack the center with c4 here. Yeah, like d4, knight b5. It's a good idea to play g5, get this sorted once and for all, this pin. Drop back, and now rook e8. Yeah, now it's it's similar to the line before, but here black is flexible with his bishop on c8. So black has this slight weakness on the king side, but he's got central control and active pieces. I think that it is probably around equal. Yeah, d4 is an ambitious move really by Andreikin, but maybe you can play that. White is not very aggressively posted. Maybe he was a bit concerned about knight e3 coming, so this d4 move lets the knight look a bit silly. But on the other hand, it enlivens the bishop on b3. So kind of a yeah, a double-edged decision. Yeah, this all fairly logical. Got this traded, and now with d4, white gets rid of his d4 pawn, or at least he tries to do that.
Check.
Yeah, it's a completely symmetrical pawn structure now in terms of majorities, 2 against 2, 3 against 3. The only thing that really makes this position special is that black has played those weakening moves on the king side, with the knight having this idea to enter on f5. This could be a big problem, but there are just concrete things happening here. Knight c5 is the point, attacking the queen, and well, the queen is now going to f3, which looks perfectly logical, and it's not clear where else actually. Where else would she go? This is quite similar to the game. After this, there was also queen e4 played, and this is the important point that black needed to anticipate, that now you are getting the queens off here, or at least you will in the very near future. This wasn't played, but this is an important point. Topalov went for something else. He went knight f5 immediately, and this is basically winning a pawn, as after the capture. And here it's not impossible really to keep h6 and yeah, still maintain a harmonious position. If you go king h7, just to show it, white is going here and set up this pin, and this is very problematic. It will even lose material. You have a hard time to prevent this. So black must address that first and place rook to d8. And okay, this gives up a pawn.
Check.
White can now take h6 with a check.
Check.
But in the process, black's king gets activated to g6. And he has rather active pieces. This bishop is potentially good here. Knight can go here, can go on a4. And well, after all, white's pawn that he has won is one of those f pawns, and they're not going to queen anytime soon. So we got some more moves in, and black is basically just staying and awaits developments. The problem is for white that this knight on e6 is just blocking the f-pawn here, and you're not going to make any headway. Got rooks traded. Now f5. Yeah, now black is even trying to play f4, shutting out the bishop, so white goes out of that, of course. And after f4, I think we are all already very close to having a sort of positional draw. It's very hard to imagine how black should lose the position. It continued for quite a long while. Black is basically just staying and doing nothing. I mean, there is simply nothing that he can do. The knight on e6 is perfectly placed, and they shuffled a lot. Topalov is certainly trying to do something. He would love to get a win in, but it is simply not possible to do anything. Yeah, we got knights traded, and still they didn't agree to a draw, but very soonish, let's say. Right, I think here around. Yeah, here they actually agreed to a draw. Yeah, there's absolutely no headway. Black is always attacking those two pawns with the king, and white is making no progress whatsoever. Yeah, not the most exciting game in a way, but if we look at this, probably this idea, this knight a3 idea, is not setting black so much problems, but he needed to play this energetic approach with g5 to prove that he is actually okay. Yeah, to sum up the tournament for both players, terrible for Topalov, quite good. I don't know, maybe really good for Andreikin. I don't know what ambition he had before the event, but I think he can be quite satisfied with his performance. All right, I hope you enjoyed this brief coverage of the game. Anyway, thanks for watching.